Hi guys, I'm going to do a double layout tonight. So there's the sketch. It's from Nuts About Sketches. Check out the website below if you're interested in all of Sean's amazing sketches. Um, so here I'm just trimming up all these photos. They're from my daughter's birthday, and so there are post-it notes covering some of the children's faces for people who I didn't ask permission to put their kids on the internet. And so, oh, sorry guys, I meant to cut that out. That's just me doing my little administrative thing. Um, and so here I am, I'm using the Studio Calico May kit, which is called 35 millimeters. I have the main kit and I also have the lomography add-on. And so here I have a bit of a challenge because I love that paper there. It's scientific paper and the birthday party was at the Science Center. It's kind of all like schematic um, drawings and stuff. So I have this challenge because it's a kit. There's only one piece of paper like that in it, and I want that to be my background paper for this layout, but it's a double page layout. So I have cut it into quarters. So each of those pieces is 3 inches long, and I trimmed off a little bit so that there'd be a border on either side. And I'm using cardstock as my background, just to kind of tie it together. And so when I'm doing 2-page spreads, a couple of things that I like to do is frame it because that kind of ties it together. And I also like to carry things across the gap, and so I'll show you that as I do it. So here I'm just kind of tricking you into thinking that I have 2 full pieces of that schematic paper, and so I'm going to lay it out so that it looks like it covers the whole background, but I'm putting that green piece in the middle to look like it's a layer, and that's my way of spreading a single piece of paper across 2. And so there's also a single piece of the green Studio Calico paper because that is down the middle. So it's 6 by 12. And the other pieces are all 3 by 12, but it's a little bit less than 12 because I've got that border on the edge. So now I am outlining around the edge of this, again, to kind of tie it together. And so there's sort of the base of my layout, and you'll notice that I'm placing that photos in the middle there so that it crosses the line of the 2 pages. And when you do that, you just want to make sure that that line doesn't fall on anything important. You don't want it going down the middle of somebody's face or down the middle of like a sign or like a part that's important. And so then I'm going to use the honeycomb paper, and I'm also going to cross that across the line, but I'm crossing it on the other way so that the 2 things are overlapping and they're both crossing the gap between the 2 pages. And what that does is it helps it look, I like my 2-page layouts to look like they're one, and not everybody does it that way, but that's just my thing. I don't think I've ever done a 2-page layout that's like 2 separate pages that coordinate or match with each other. It's always, when I do a double page, it's always like this. So I just like to do that. I don't know why. So I'm outlining again. That kind of gives your eye the illusion of it being one single layout. And yeah, so I'm just kind of lining things up. I love how those photos, those 4x6 photos, span the exact height of that green Studio Calico paper. And I should be telling you what I'm using here. That honeycomb paper is by My Mind's Eye Follow Your Heart collection. The schematic paper is by Heidi Swap, and the greenish bluish kind of paper that's also spanning the background is Studio Calico from the Take Note collection, and that chevron paper that I'm just outlining right now is from the On the Bright Side collection by My Mind's Eye. And the ruler paper, which I colored in the number 7 just to make it stand out from the rest of it, is from the Echo Park This and That collection, and it came in the kit, and I've really hacked it to pieces and used it for lots and lots of things. I love ruler paper. Ruler paper. Sorry about my video camera there. Every time my head comes in, and even my ATG gun tends to put off the focus because anything of a different height will. Anyways, that's a little annoying, so, but there's nothing I can do about it. So you'll notice that when I span the border with the 2 pages with something, I just kind of glue right over the border, and then I go back and I slice it with my trimmer. That's just for me the easiest way. I know that other people do it other ways, but that's just way easier for me than trying to kind of pre-cut and then trying to line it up later. And so now I'm just adding some embellishments. That little clip is from the Smash collection. By the way, those have little clear film on them that you need to take off, which I didn't realize. That's why I took it out of frame for a second there. And then I have a bunch of those Jenny Bolin hexagon stickers that I'm going to use to help label the kids in the photos. And then here I'm just trying to pick out what letter stickers I'm going to use. And I was trying to decide, obviously I had a hard time choosing letters. I took out about 4 million of them there. And but I wanted to go with something kind of sciencey. So I went with the Goodness stickers by Amy Tangerine, and then I used those Love by Cosmo Cricket, the ones I'm picking out right now, just for the and of, just for the in-between words in my title. And so the title is, so there's those Goodness stickers, and they're really cool because they're very graphical looking. They've got graph paper printed on, like a graph design on them. And then I'm trying to decide here, I was going to write out the number 7, S-E-V-E-N, and I wanted it to contrast with the thickers that I already had, but I didn't have much space for the word 7, so I ended up changing my mind and going with the number 7. And these are Jilly Bean Soup corrugated letters that also have numbers in the sheet. So I just popped out the number 7, and I'm going to paint it with white acrylic paint. That's the very bottom of my bottle of white acrylic paint. And I'm just going to dry it with my heat gun very, very quickly. And then I'm going to just ink it with some Memento London Fog Gray ink, just to give it a bit more texture. And then I'm very carefully outlining it because it's hard to outline in a straight line when it's corrugated, with my bold marker, which is the brush tip of my Pitt pen by Faber-Castell. And so I've cut all of the pieces, all of the words apart here on the wax paper so that I can play around with it. I was going to kind of play on the word turning and make it turn a corner, and then I was going to make it go circular, and then I just decided to hyphenate it. And what I cut there was the little line of the Z. See, I showed you the Z or the Z, depending on where you live. And I always make my hyphens if most letter stickers don't come with a hyphen, and if they don't, I always cut it off of the Z because I'm not going to use the Z for anything else. So I always have a bunch of hacked up Zs on my thickers. And so now I'm finally committing to the placement of these titles. And then I decide at the last minute here that I'm going to pull those off and put some washi tape just to emphasize the number, the word science, which it's yellow on yellow. It doesn't really emphasize it all that much, but I just wanted another little detail. And so I put some yellow washi tape there behind the word science. And so, because I didn't want to use another color besides yellow because that would just distract from it too much. So I don't know, I probably didn't need to do that. It doesn't add that much to the layout. So there, my title's done, and I'm pretty happy with it. I like how it turned out. That little die cut behind the word 7 and also the one that I'm now outlining both came in the kit, and I don't know who made them. They came in a little package that didn't have any branding on it. So now I'm going to stamp, I guess. Yes, I'm going to stamp. I'm just kind of basically creating a background pattern using the hexagon stamp from Studio Calico that came in the kit. and I'm going to put that there and put some letter stickers on it. I'm using the Sassafras glitter letter stickers that I got a huge amount of when they were on sale on Crafty Steals. So now I kind of regret doing this because it makes it look like it's another title. It competes a little bit with the actual title, the Cake Pop Fun. This was meant to be just an embellishment to talk about, what that picture is about. But it ends up kind of having too much pop to it, and so it looks like a subtitle or like, I don't know. But anyways, it's meant to be just an embellishment. So it is what it is. I'm just outlining those letters, again, making them pop probably a little bit more than they should, but that's life, I guess. I suppose if I had chosen smaller letters, it wouldn't look so much like part of the title. So there it is, and yes, I pop dotted it. I thought I would. And now there's that speech bubble that also came in the kit, and so I wanted to use red letters to pick up on the red in that multi-chevron. The multi-chevron paper is my favorite paper in that kit, and I was so happy to be able to spread it across so many different projects. I've got it in my project life, and I think it showed up on 3 different layouts, so nice to get so much use out of one single piece of paper. And so the thought bubble just says hurricane, because they were in the hurricane booth and they were all screaming, hurricane, no, tornado, tornado. They were screaming. It was so funny. I think we had 8 kids in that booth at one point. I think that's probably more than what is supposed to be in it, but they had a lot of fun. So I just went back and typed. I keep my typewriter set up in my back room, and typed up a bunch of journaling strips. I typed more than I needed. I was going to put little journaling strips on each of the on each of the photos, just kind of saying, like Mackenzie in the bubble room and that sort of thing, but then I decided against that because it was kind of a lot. So I'll read you the journaling. It says, Livy's Discovery Center party was so much fun. We saw dinosaurs, played in the bubble room, went in the tornado booth, made puking pumpkins, and made bouncy balls from glue, borax, and water. And yeah, so I'm just going through the tedious process of outlining and gluing down each of those journaling strips. This is why I don't use journaling strips very often. It is very tedious when you're obsessed with outlining like I am. Yes, I should have just glued them down, but anyways, you'll have to watch me do all this because I didn't bother editing this video at all. Sorry, guys. There we go. And so now I just have a couple of strips of journaling for the other side. They're going to go above the Cake Pop Fun pinked circle, and here I'm thinking about using those strips on the photos, and I thought, no, that's going to be too much. It's going to take away from the photos. So I'm just gluing down that ruler. I don't know if I told you, but that's from Echo Park, from the This and That collection, and those are Jenny Bolin hexagon stickers that I'm just using as little labels. So each one has either date, name, or place written on it, and so I used one for place and one for date, and then the rest of them all say name. And I'm just labeling the kids in each of the photos because someday we'll look back and we might not remember who all these kids were. I know I have a picture of my 5th birthday, and there are some of the kids who I recognize and others that are mystery kids. So so I'm trying to do a better job at labeling things these days. So what am I doing here? I'm not sure. Am I done? Oh yes. So now I don't want that piece of multi-striped chevron paper to be empty, so I need to put something on it. So I'm going to add a couple of chevrons to the layout. It needed something with a bit more oomph, so I decided to spray some of these hexagons. They're mistables from Studio Calico, so they're made for misting. With that's Overdue Mr. Huey's spray. And that's a nice bright, I can never tell if it's orange or red. I think I'm colorblind, you guys. I never know. I don't think I'm colorblind. I think I see the colors fine. I just don't know where to label them. I don't know where orange ends and red begins. It's the same with green and blue and yellow even, green and yellow. But anyways, I consider that orange, but I know people call it red. It's kind of tomato red. And so I'm just putting a couple of those quick twinkle goosebumps around on some of the hexagons. And I lost one of the hexagons in the process of spraying it. I had one picked out to go somewhere else and I didn't end up, I lost it. So I found it when I was cleaning up. And those are Prima buttons that are on the 3 hexagons that are stacked. They're wooden vintage, they're really pretty. So now I'm just showing the layout. So thanks for watching, guys. Okay, yeah, so I'm back to tell you guys that that cake that you see right there, my sister-in-law made that. That's a bubble room cake. Those are bubbles. Isn't that the most amazing cake you've ever seen? And yeah, so there's the layout for you guys. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. If you have any questions, if I forgot to say something or wasn't very clear about who made what or whatever, just feel free to leave me a message. I might not get back to you until a couple of weeks, but I try to answer all my comments eventually, but it does take me a while for some of them because I can't answer comments on my iPad. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.